Hey, world history students. Today is going to be a shorter video. We're just going to do the section of the notes that is on the Holocaust. So if you haven't pulled out your notes yet, make sure you're doing that. Scroll on down. Last time we talked about the end of the war in Japan. Today we're going to continue with talking about the Holocaust. All right, so no aspect of the Nazi New Order was more terrifying than the deliberate attempt to exterminate the Jews. Hitler believed in a racial struggle with clear opposites. Think of like a good versus evil. On one side were the Aryans, who, in Hitler's eyes, were the creators of human cultural development. And then on the other side, there were Jews, who Hitler believed were trying to destroy the Aryans. So we have this good versus evil, and this is obviously in Hitler's eyes. And he believed the good were the Aryans, the true German blood, as he said. And then the other side were the Jews. Hitler gave his, and they're usually known as the SS. You'll see them, the little SS symbol on their uniforms, and often heard to as referred as the SS. But Hitler gave the SS and their leader, Heinrich Himmler, the responsibility for what the Nazis called their final solution to the Jewish problem. Now, there's a lot of different things we talk about in social sciences when they use terms like final solution or Jewish problem. Common one is called doublespeak. It's when you say something but really mean something else. So when you say final solution, it's essentially a nice way of saying exterminating or genocide. But Nazis called this their final solution to the Jewish problem. The SS was the Nazi special militia and became one of the most powerful and feared organizations in all of Nazi Germany. Himmler shared Hitler's racial ideas. The final solution was genocide of the Jewish people. So remember, genocide means to completely rid a group of people. So it doesn't matter what people you choose, but genocide would be to kill and get rid of one entire group of people. In this case, talking about the Jewish people. A special strike force within the SS called the Einsatzgruppen was created to carry out Nazi plans. After Germany took Poland, the Einsatzgruppen rounded up all of the Polish Jews and put them into ghettos to set up in a number of Polish cities. So a ghetto was a place where it was typically bad conditions and small area that held a primarily one ethnic group. Conditions in ghettos were horrible. Families crowded together in unsanitary housing. Nazis tried to starve families by only allowing minimal amounts of food. In June 1941, the Einsatzgruppen were given the new job of acting as mobile killing units. These SS death squads followed the regular army's advancements and round up Jews in their villages, executed them, and buried them in mass graves. The graves were typically giant pits dug by the victims themselves before they were shot. So this group of the SS would follow the army as they advanced into different cities and taking over different countries, would round up all of the Jews as well as other people who were deemed unworthy, which was most minorities or disabled people, and would force them to dig giant ditches or trenches and then kill them and put them in it and bury them in it. The Einsatzgruppen probably killed more than 1 million Jews. Although 1 million deaths sounds like a lot, it was still too slow by Nazi standards. They decided to kill European Jewish population in specifically built death camps. So Hitler believed that this killing, this mass murdering of Jewish people especially, was not moving fast enough. And so they came up with a new idea to do it. Beginning in 1942, Jews from German-occupied countries, remember this is almost all of continental Europe, were rounded up, packed like cattle into freight trains, and shipped to Poland. 6 extermination centers were built in Poland. The largest was Auschwitz. About 30% of new arrivals to Auschwitz were sent to the labor camp, where they were starved or worked to death. The remaining 70% were sent to their death in the gas chambers. So immediately upon arrival, about 7 out of 10 of these people arriving into the camps, mostly Jews, were sent straight to their death in a gas chamber. The other 30% were sent in the camp to do some sort of manual labor, working in a factory or something like that. So they're going to be starved and worked to death. You can see these pictures here of these men who were starved and worked. You see they have very little clothes. You can see their bones are showing through their skin because of how little they're eating and how much they're being forced to work. Even when Germany began losing the war, the final solution still had priority in using railroad cars to ship Jews to death camps. So we're talking, even though Germany starts losing the war, they could start using these trains and the railroads to help their war effort. But no, they still prioritized trying to get as many Jews to these death camps as possible. Germans killed approximately 6 million Jews. Over 90% of the Jewish population of Poland, the Baltic countries, and Germany were killed. Overall, the Holocaust was responsible for the death of nearly 2 out of every 3 European Jews. The Nazis were also responsible for the deliberate death by shooting, starvation, and overwork of at least another 9 to 10 non-Jewish people. The Nazis considered the Roma, or Gypsies, like the Jews, to be an alien race. The leading citizens of the Slavic peoples were arrested and killed. Probably an additional 4 million Poles, Ukrainians, and Belarusians also lost their lives as slave laborers. Finally, at least 3 to 4 million Soviet prisoners of war were also killed. This mass murder of European Jews is known as the Holocaust. Many Jews in and out of camps attempted to resist Nazis. Friends and strangers aided Jews by hiding or smuggling them into safe areas. Maybe you've heard of Anne Frank or had to read some of her diary. She's one of the more famous Jews who was hidden and protected by a friend. Ultimately, she was found and did not survive. There are thousands of people who die in various wars and battles we talk about in our class. But we're talking about the deliberate murder of innocent people because of where they're from or their religion or their sexual orientation or their physical handicaps or their mental handicaps. Any person deemed not worthy by the Nazis were at risk of dying. And now we're talking millions and millions of people. These are not soldiers who are fighting in a war. These are just people living their lives. Children were not exempted from the horrors of the Holocaust. Because they were unable to work, Jewish children and women were the first ones selected for the gas chambers. So children were not avoided in this. They were also killed. So the terms that you would need to know: genocide, the deliberate mass murder or physical extinction of a particular group of people. And the word ghetto. You may have heard that term in pop culture today, and it's reference into what the term ghetto actually means, but it's not exactly the same. So ghetto is a part of a city in which members of a particular group or race live, usually in poor conditions. All right, we are going to start there today. I know this isn't a positive topic, but it is something we should study and something that happened. And I hope you guys can understand the gravity and how big of an issue and terrible tragedy the Holocaust truly was. That said, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope to talk to you guys all very soon.